Welcome to the Deep Dive. Okay, today we're really getting into it, unpacking the sources you shared on Red Table Talk.
Yeah, it's quite a collection, a show that definitely, got people talking.
Absolutely. But it's got this really complex legacy, doesn't it? So our mission here is to walk you through that duality we found in the material.
Right. It was praised hugely for being so open, raw even.
But then there's this significant criticism about its whole approach, especially with sensitive stuff.
Exactly. So we're looking at what made it impactful, but also, where the critics felt it kind of fell short.
It's a real paradox, isn't it? Like trying to normalize these private, tough conversations.
But in doing that, maybe creating some new problems along the way. Your sources really pull that out.
Okay, so let's start where it arguably had a massive footprint. Mental health awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrated, definitely, for bringing vulnerability out into the open. But a common thread in the sources was this critique about the celebrity focus.
Right, that it could actually maybe alienate some people or oversimplify things.
Yeah, exactly. Or even, some argued, play into certain stereotypes without offering, real concrete solutions.
And what really stood out digging into your material was that tension. The intent seemed clear, break down stigma. Great goal.
Sure.
But by leaning so heavily on these, celebrity stories, critics argued it kind of made mental health seem almost exclusive.
Like you needed a certain lifestyle to understand or access help?
Potentially, yeah. It maybe overlooked the everyday struggles of folks who couldn't relate to those huge experiences or, frankly, afford that level of support.
Leaving them with powerful stories, maybe, but not much practical stuff to take away.
Precisely.
Okay, now here's where it gets particularly interesting for me. Social justice and empowerment.
Yes.
The sources you shared, some of them had some really sharp critiques here, said that while it created buzz,
Lots of buzz.
right, the approach felt, to some, a bit superficial, maybe even sensationalized, prioritizing the drama over, nuanced discussion.
And that really makes you think, doesn't it? Does just talking about something publicly automatically lead to meaningful change?
Good question.
Because looking at the material, you see these accusations of tokenizing marginalized voices, featuring them for a moment, maybe for the headlines.
But not really digging into the deeper systemic issues.
Exactly. Critics pointed out that focusing so much on individual stories, however powerful, could sort of overshadow the bigger picture, those larger structural problems behind social injustice. It's a strong point.
And this tension, between being authentic and maybe pushing towards spectacle, it seemed to carry right over into evolving family dynamics.
Definitely. The show championed openness, unconventional families.
Which is important.
Absolutely. But again, the sources highlighted this feeling that the portrayal often veered into the dramatic.
And the risk there, some argued, was maybe normalizing unhealthy dynamics. Or just making it hard to relate if your family life wasn't, celebrity-level intent.
It really does walk that fine line, doesn't it, between radical honesty, which can be amazing, and just outright spectacle.
Yeah.
The goal seemed to be broadening understanding, but the critique suggests that by focusing so much on conflict, high-stakes stuff,
It might have skewed perceptions of just, normal, healthy family interactions. Especially with that celebrity filter, making it less relatable. So after going through all this, what's the takeaway on its broader legacy? Your sources seem to show a real debate.
a big one? Was its influence, maybe? Overstated. Did it really foster those deep, genuine conversations?
Or did it maybe unintentionally just feed a more voyeuristic, sensationalized public discourse? Because of the celebs, the drama.
And then you have the cancellation, April 2023, officially because Meta pulled the plug on Facebook Watch Originals.
Right, the platform itself changed.
But what's really interesting in your sources is how some argue that recent events, involving the Smith family.
The divorce news, the whole August Alsina entanglement thing, that Oscar slap.
Yeah, all of that. The argument is that those events might have, for some people, further chipped away at the show's perceived impact, especially on mental health and social justice. So it really forces the question, is Red Table Talk still seen as this major cultural force for dialogue? Or, looking back, did it kind of miss the mark for a lot of people?
What's undeniable, I think, is that it carved out a unique space. But like your sources show so clearly, its actual impact, super complex, still debated.
It really is.
And that kind of leaves a big question for you, the listener, doesn't it? In this world where everything is becoming so public, what's the real cost and benefit of all this vulnerability? especially when, honesty gets tangled up with entertainment.
It really pushes you to think critically about the media you consume. Consider the powerful talks which shows like this can spark.
But also be aware of their potential limits, where they might fall short.
Exactly. A lot to think about there.